Hey, Flower Children, it's your girl Nayoka Nadi, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to a brand new episode of the Between Worlds podcast. In this episode, we're diving deep into the topic of hypnosis with a very special guest. Whether you're passionate about hypnosis or just curious about it, you won't want to miss this conversation. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so you're first to catch all of our latest episodes. Let's bridge the gap between the known and the unknown together. Catch you in the episode. Peace. Hello, everybody. It's your girl Nayoka Nadi, and I'm here with a new episode for the Between Worlds podcast. And today I have a very special guest. Her name is Nicole Marie. She is a BQH therapist. She also is a Reiki therapist as well. And she is studying to become a hypnotherapist, and she'll be graduating very soon. She is also psychically inclined and is very tapped in, tuned in, tapped in, turned on, as they say. So I'm very excited to bring on our guest, Nicole Marie.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of my podcast. I really appreciate you stopping by and getting ready to drop some gems and wisdom tools for us to nibble on.
That sounds great.
Okay, so my first question is, how did you get your start on this spiritual journey?
So I got stuck home with the kids is what happened. And I felt like I was going to lose my mind. I I was stressed out and really not feeling well and just needed to kind of felt like I needed to take care of me a little bit. And so I started in this journey of meditation. Someone suggested meditation to me, and I thought it was nonsense. And so someone suggested it to me, a close friend, and so I started on this journey of meditation and quickly found myself down the rabbit hole of all things spiritual, just because of what I experienced as I was going through my meditative process. And so I found a tribe of friends who were able to kind of help me make some sense of the things that I had been experiencing my whole life, and I didn't realize were, you know, we'll call them metaphysical or spiritual experiences. I just so with that, I found Delores Cannon. And for anybody who doesn't know who Delores Cannon is, she is an author of, oh gosh, I don't know how many, I want to say 12, 13 books, 14 books, maybe more, all talking about past life regression and her experiences with past life regression. And what started as just sort of like a pet project with her and her husband turned into a lifelong journey for her, to help people heal and learn. So I've read all of her books and got to a point where I felt like that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people. And so I took the BQH, which is Beyond Quantum Healing course, which is a sister course of Delores Cannon's QHHT, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique that she had developed. I took the BQH course because it resonated with me, not knowing what the heck I was getting into other than I was going to try to help people through regression. Didn't realize it was even hypnosis, to be honest with you. And so then what I did from there was started seeing people, and helping them through regression with a number of different things. A lot of them just kind of wanted to know what their purpose in life was. And then I felt like something was missing. So then I decided to go to school for hypnotherapy, and that's kind of where I've landed. Oh, and in between then, I also learned how became a Reiki practitioner. So that's kind of that's kind of my journey. And I'm always reading new books and giving myself access to new materials and meeting new people and, raising that vibration so that bringing more people that are like-minded into my energy.
Okay. So when you started meditating, what was that, I guess, aha moment for you?
Um, when I experienced something that I like, an otherworldly sort of experience, like I experienced like just the universe. It's so hard to explain unless you experience it yourself, but I experienced the energy that is the universe. There was no limitations. I could go anywhere I wanted. I could see anything I wanted. And it brought me this real sense of calm and just connectedness. So as soon as that happened, I'm like, all right, there's something to this. This is not just breathing. This is more.
Right. Okay. So what would you recommend for someone that wants to have an experience like you experienced?
Don't force it. Just meditate and meditation is a hard thing to get involved in if you're just kind of coming into it like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Because you see in the movies people are like and they trying to look silly and all that stuff, but it's really not that. It's really just sitting with yourself and learning how to be 100% in the moment. I guess don't try to force it. Whatever comes, and as you accept that, and as you accept that you're just here and we're just in the moment, things will open up to you that you never thought possible.
Okay. Well, I believe I'm beginning my meditation journey seriously now. Like I'm really gonna try to seriously do it, and be consistent with it because that's definitely been a challenge for me.
It's a challenge for us all. So one thing I will tell people is I go through that myself. There's times when I'll go, a couple of weeks or so, and I won't meditate because be so busy. I just won't take the time, and that's okay. The thing is, you just got to give yourself grace for that, right? You can't beat yourself up over it. You're gonna have things happen to you as they're supposed to happen. So if you need to take a moment and step back just to reflect, or even just to be physical, that's okay. Just don't beat yourself up over it, because you beat yourself up over it and then it's harder to go back to it.
Right. Right. Don't beat yourself up over it. Be easy on yourself.
Yep.
Okay. So you mentioned Dolores Cannon as one of the people who inspired you. Are there any other, I would like to call them master teachers, that have helped you or enlightened you along the way?
So Jane Roberts is one of my favorites. She was an author, for people who don't know, in the 70s, who was a channel, and she channeled these books, a series of. She did some on her own too, but she channeled a series of books for an individual called Seth. And Seth was an otherworldly being, and kind of just gives you like the I don't want to say the secrets of life, but how life works, how the universe works, and gives you some
Right.
explanations. Billy Carson's a big one for me. I know that a lot of people think he's a conspiracy theorist, but really intelligent man, and has done a lot of studying, and really, he's resonated with me a lot as well.
Okay.
Um, Candace Craw-Goldman, who developed BQH, she's another one.
Okay. Candace Craw-Goldman. Okay, I definitely have to check her out. And I agree with you with Jane Roberts and Billy Carson are definitely two of my main influences. So I'm with you there. My next question would be, what is the difference between BQH and QHHT?
The main difference between the two is that BQH can be done online. So that's a modality that has been perfected to be able to reach out, like be able to do the hypnosis online with the client versus having to be in a one-on-one session with them.
Hmm.
The other big difference, I think, is that BQH is more intention based.
Okay.
Delores developed her QHHT in a way that didn't have a whole lot of room for maneuvering within it. So there's script, you follow the script. If you follow the script, then you get to where you need to be, or you get the client to where they need to be, and then you can progress with the session.
Okay.
With BQH, it's a lot more intuitive, at least in my opinion. I'm not a QHHT provider, but I've done some research. I did a lot of research prior to taking the course, doing the coursework to see what resonated with me the most. And BQH gives you a lot more latitude to be able to change things up on the fly if you need to. And it's a lot more intuitive. QHHT, you have levels, so you go and you you learn it, and then you have to practice on a certain number of clients, and then you come back and you do another level, and so it's level based,
Okay.
and you have to fulfill certain things before you can move to the next level. And I'm not saying I have a problem with that. It is what it is. I just prefer to work more with the intuition. That's what drives me than that structure of you have to do this or you have to do that, because in this world of metaphysics, we all know that nothing ever is 100%. This is just what it is. Like, there's always something else behind it, right? So I feel like you kind of have to keep yourself open to being able to feel through things, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Right. Definitely. Um, being as how it's like a new tradition, I can see like why QHHT is, very scripted and structured. It's like you got to learn it that way. And then from there, you can grow into your own like individual, like you said, intuitive style.
Right, and that's okay. It just depends on the person, right? And what you want your experience to be and what resonates with you the most, right? It's none is neither is right or wrong. They're very similar. Even their scripts are actually pretty similar.
Hmm.
Um, it just, some people, it resonates, that intuitive, intention based style resonates more than that structured style, I guess.
Okay. Do you have any tips for someone that's learning to become a practitioner?
Yeah, so I think, at least for me, the biggest thing that I found is that I had no problems for the most part getting people induced and into a nice state of trance or flow.
Hmm.
But once I got there, a lot of times they need to be deepened. And so, like, you've got them there and you're maybe seeing some stuff from this life, or they're just floating around in space or whatever the heck is going on. And you really need to get them into a deeper state, to be able to really get in contact with that subconscious or higher self or whatever you want to call it. And the both programs really don't give you any information on that. So you're kind of on your own. That's kind of what pushed me to go to school for hypnotherapy, was because I realized that this was after a while, I realized it was a hypnotic technique, and that there had to be other ways of reaching the client's deepest states so that they can have the full experience. So I would say the most important thing is get your regular education or your certification, but don't just stop there. Really do some reading about hypnosis and hypnosis techniques and the deepeners that can be used to help get the clients to that state. That's like, just continuing education is super important. And don't give up, because you're going to get some weird stuff going on. You just can't give up. You just got to keep trying and pushing through.
Okay. And so, being a hypnotherapist, I can imagine you have heard some very interesting stories and some great ideas coming through. What are some of those things that you can share?
Well, in hypnotherapy, the actual sessions themselves, regular hypnotherapy, are pretty uneventful. They're pretty unremarkable as far as stories and where I can take them. But with BQH, that's got some really cool stuff that happens, because we're working on a much deeper level. When you're working with BQH, you're working with that subconscious, and with that, if for those people who believe in like the higher self, you're working with that higher self. So, um, I can talk about one client that I had, and I've done numerous sessions with her, and we found that she was an off-world. She came into the scene and she was off-world, so meaning she was in a world that wasn't the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So the majority of the time when we do these sessions, you get really mundane. You might get someone on in a meadow, you might get someone farming, you might get someone in the army. It's just
Okay.
regular life stuff, right? But it's
Boring.
yeah, just what Delores used to call boring, life stuff. That's not what you. That's what you get the majority of the time. But this one particular scene that this individual came into, and this is again not my first session with her. It was later down the road. She was off world, and she was describing this world, this almost like a technicolor world, that has all these beautiful things, and how connected she felt with that world, with that earth, so to speak, whatever it was, with that planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then she looks down at herself, and she's got blue hands and blue feet, and long braided black hair, and I mean the description that she's giving was nothing that either of us had certainly ever heard of before. Um, and so she went and took me around and talked about the things that she saw, and then all of a sudden she was told that she needed to leave that world to come to the earth to help raise the vibration of the people of earth, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
um, and so that was probably the most remarkable session that I've ever had. And afterwards, we did some research, and we found that she was most likely what we call an Acturian,
Okay.
which is one of the alien races that we hear about, and the conspiracy theories and all that mess. You'll sometimes hear people speaking in a language that sounds a little funny, and it's called light language, and Acturian is one of the major light languages that they have. So it's really cool stuff to think that sort of stuff is going on out there, right?
Definitely, definitely. And it's funny you say Octorians because I've been coming across them a lot lately as well. More a lot lately. I listened to another hypnotherapy session and they had a past life as an Octorian as well. And I'm just like, shoot, maybe I'm Octorian. I gotta look into it.
You
I
never
got
know. You never know. There's a lot of the younger, and when I say younger, I'm aging myself here, but when I say younger, I mean like the millennial sort of generation, right?
hmm
A lot of that millennial generation is what we call, there's a lot of light workers. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but they call them light workers. So they're younger souls. They're not older souls. They're younger souls that have come here. That as Delores has said in her works, they come here, they incarnate just being here raises the vibration
hmm
of the people of Earth, right? They're not necessarily out doing things. They're just there, and by being here, they're raising our collective vibration. So that's one of the theories of things that's going on with the Acturians.
And I always thought that that was really beautiful because I definitely remember her saying that, like, just being here, you're bringing something. And, we always wonder what our purpose is, and so just the idea of just being here is doing something is awesome, you
It
know.
really is. And the client that I was talking about, something I should mention is that um, in this life, in her current life, she's a Reiki master, and so that's what she does. She heals people, and she also she works with her hands with the earth.
Okay.
So it's interesting to me how aligned
Right.
those lives are, and also are we all by that rationale, or are we living our lives all at the same time, or congruently, or are
Yeah.
we is that really a past life? So that's one of the other things I'm learning through BQH, is that
Yeah.
not everything is considered necessarily a past life, because it could be happening, everything happens all at once, so you could be tapping into yourself in a different dimension. I know that's kind of woo
Yeah.
woo, but
No, I'm with you.
you
I
could be
agree.
tapping into it like that, right?
I don't believe in time. I feel like that's coming, that's out there now. Time doesn't exist. We know that now. And so I agree. It's like it can't be past or future. It has, if time doesn't exist, then everything is happening now. So it
It's just
definitely
what you
is.
tapping into, man. It's great.
Yeah, it's like a frequency, like whichever position you're in, and like you said, her lives make sense. Altorian in one life and then Reiki in the next. And they're probably all interconnected as to the growth of one, it affects the growth of another, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
interesting stuff. It's hard to wrap your head around sometimes, but you just got to flow with it, right?
gotta flow with it, gotta love it. I like it because it makes life more fun for me. Like it's more interesting this way anyway. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's cool. So as far as Reiki, what is Reiki, and um what do you like about it?
So Reiki is a form. It's a Western form of energy healing. It was started in Japan, and I don't want to give a year because I don't remember the year, but a long, 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 long time ago. And it was passed down generation to generation. Then it made its way over here in the last, say, probably 60 to 100 years. When I say over here, and I said Western medicine, it's Eastern medicine, I apologize, that made its way over here to the West within the last 100 years or so. And it really has to do with our chakra system. And for those people who are kind of out, don't know what chakras are, you have 7 of them. They're energy centers located in certain places in your body that go up and down and most like your spine. And sometimes those energy centers can get blocked up or congested, so to speak, energetically with traumas or things that you're holding in that you're not dealing with. And so what Reiki does is gives us a way, we attune into that energy and gives us a way to manipulate it and help unclog it, and redirect it if we need to.
Okay, awesome. And what has been one of your favorite experiences doing Reiki?
I think my favorite was when I was in class with Reiki, and I was learning how to do it, and it was me and one other student. It was a really small class, and I was performing Reiki on her. And as I'm performing Reiki on her, I'm actually getting visuals, which for me doesn't usually happen. I'm not someone who visualizes things or gets visions of things like some people do. I have to imagine, so to speak. And so I've got this like picture in my mind of this like really old, stone doorway with a wood door, looked really sort of medieval or even prior to that. Um, that just flashed in my head as I'm doing the Reiki. And then after the session, um, she brought up that she had been doing some searching about her family, and that when I told her about this vision that I had, because that's not normal, I don't ever get that wasn't something I had ever really experienced before. When I told her about it after the session, she was telling me that she had just been researching her family and her heritage, and found out that she has this comes from this really old Celtic family over in Ireland, the Ireland area, that kind of fits in with that vision that I got. And I think that she said, well, that just kind of gives me an affirmation that I'm going down the right path. Like this is correct. And so that's something that I can get on occasion when I'm doing Reiki. I will get those visuals on occasion now, but not all the time, unfortunately. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. So, can you speak on the mind body connection by chance?
Sure. So the
Or what is that? Like, is
the
that
mind body connection is so when you the thought that the things that are happening in your body are 100% connected to whatever emotion or whatever thing you're going, your thoughts and your emotions, right? So let's say, for instance, you, um, and this is a really simple explanation, like you are having problems with your throat, your throat's sore all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or having problems talking. Well, that's probably because you are not speaking up about something. So
Ooh.
you're holding something back, right? So that's right in here in your throat chakra. And so you're not speaking your truth, right? And so when you don't
Oh,
speak your truth, things get congested. And so on a larger level, you're stressed out, right? You're super stressed out, and your body feels it. It's called a body syndrome. We start to feel it in our bodies. You have anger. I think the anger is the kidney, right? So you got kidney issues. Chances are that you probably are holding in some anger that you're not even aware of, or that you are aware of and just don't let it out.
okay. Wow. That is powerful. That is powerful. And I feel like we don't really do too much with that information, or not everyone, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we're moving as a whole. We're moving more towards that mind body connection. As we are raising that collective consciousness, that vibration of the collective consciousness, we're moving away from the pills, and we're moving away from the Western medicines that we have nowadays that are just poisoning us. And we're starting to realize that, because those medicines might help, but really they're just helping the symptoms. They're not helping the root cause of
Right.
whatever the disease is, right? And so the more we delve into the inner workings of our minds, and our day to day, the
Mm-hmm.
things that we do on a day to day basis, and how that connects to our body, I think the better off we're going to be. We're going to have healthier individuals. You're going to see people not taking as many medications, and they're going to be looking at what they can do to change their lifestyle, or change something about what they're doing currently to help heal whatever's going on within their body.
Right. Definitely. Um, my next question would be, hmm, clearly we're establishing that extraterrestrials exist in your belief system, right? So, what do you feel like the government's role has been so far in this scenario? Do you think they're covering up the truth? Do you think they're telling the truth? What do you think their role is?
So I think that there was some cover up at some point early on. But I feel like it's all been disclosed at this point. You just got to go look for the information. I feel like the US government has absolutely covered things up in the past. Um, I think it's on a broader scale with the whole. It's more of a global thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. government has declassified so much information from the CIA, talking about like Area 54 and some of the Air Force bases over in Europe during the not the Civil War, the World War II, when they dropped the bomb. Some instances of some things that happened there. Some of the reverse engineering that they're doing on some of the technology that these ETs have provided us. It's all been disclosed. It's just that as a society, we're too lazy to go look for it. And that's not putting us down. I'm just saying most people don't go looking for it. They're more apt to listen to the media,
Right.
or read whatever article is fed to them, and then they believe that. I believe that what they are planning on doing, or what will happen, is that in the future they will most likely fabricate a whole scenario with extraterrestrials to feed off of our fear, to control us,
Mm-hmm.
because that's ultimately what they want us to do. They want us to stay enslaved in their wheel of, work, 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 and so I feel like that's what's ultimately going to happen. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like And then I feel like what will happen as a response to that is there will be real contact. And when I say real contact, I mean meaningful, out in the public, not hiding themselves because they're here.
Right.
It's just that we can't see them because we're not on the same vibration as them. It's they're already here.
Right.
So that's my cuckoo cuckoo opinion of things. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
I definitely agree with you. Largely, I believe that they have released a lot of documents, you know, but I wonder how far ahead they are. Like, I wonder how many more documents there are to be released. Like we've been past Mars and Jupiter. We've actually been in a whole nother galaxy by now, y'all. And that comes out like 30 years from now. And we're like, oh, really? So I just wonder how far the rabbit hole really goes. 'Cause I'm imagining that it's very deep based on all these ideas that I've been hearing, you know?
Yeah, I when you watch movies like Interstellar, I don't know if you've ever seen that
Yeah.
movie. When you watch movies like that, it really makes you and you're into this sort of thing. Like if you're just watching the movie and you're not into it, like you're just like, oh, that's a cool, entertaining movie. But if you're really into this sort of thing, it really gets you thinking about the vastness
Hmm.
of the universe or universes or what it and it really opens your mind to the possibilities of what's going on. I feel like we've had people that have left planet and traveled with. I believe those people when they say that, when they've left planet and they've traveled with these beings and they've worked with these beings. I 100% believe it. I believe that they had like the MK Ultra plans and the remote viewing and like all that stuff is true. So if that's true,
Right.
everything else has got to be true.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. And for me, I'm passionate about it too because I just remember growing up and a lot of those people that were coming out at the time were just highly discredited and considered to be worthy of an asylum at that point. You know what I mean? And it's just such a disservice, and I don't like that. It's kind of it's a disgrace, like what happened to those people, and now they're just like, oh yeah, okay, of course it exists. We're just so cavalier about it, and it's like, wow, a lot of people really lost their lives over this topic, and I'm excited to see how far it goes and what happens next.
Have you ever heard of Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to shout that out. Like it's because you were saying proof, you know?
He's at the forefront of this, and he's really been like a really big part of them declassifying information and bringing it to the public. And he tells stories about his friends and himself who have had, like, he has friends that have died, that just out of nowhere, like, got sick and like just died. And he even got sick at one point. Like he says that that's the way they come after you. It's they just unalive you. It's just that simple. They say there's like something that they can, some sort of localized energy ray thing. And I know that sounds really out there. For lack of a better, you'd have to listen to him. He explains it so much more eloquently. But there's some sort of like energy ray that they point in your, or they localize it to you, and then you like implode, not implode. I'm making it sound like a movie, but like you just disintegrate slowly or quickly, but not in front of your eyes, but it's a rapid illness that takes you.
Yeah,
And that's scary to think that they have something like that, and that they use it for a purpose like that.
yeah. That reminds me of that. It's already out. It's in the military. It like desensitizes you. Like you feel like you're on fire. You can't move. It's
Oh, the sound thing, or
yeah,
the high frequency waves or whatever they do, which
yeah.
like stops you or
Yeah,
whatever.
in your tracks. Right. So I'm thinking we're far beyond that, like in reality.
I believe we are. I believe they have to be careful with what they feed us, because some of us aren't ready for that stuff. Some, like you and I, we'd be like, all right, okay, I get it. But other people would be like not able to wrap their heads around it. it's just not something that they're open to.
Right.
So,
I think the big one too is like it's a joke. Oh, aliens, it's a joke. You're crazy. You know what I mean? So we have to get over that because a lot of people they just wouldn't believe. Like if a UFO landed today, they'll be like, "Oh wow, that's such a trick. Like it's so cool. AI." Like you know what I mean? So I feel like we have to tap into the spirituality of it, and then that will put you in a more like whole perspective of you know what their purpose is, and not to be fooled by whatever the government might be may or may not be planning. Like,
man, if they wanted to hurt us, if they wanted to do something to us, they could do it now. Like they're so far, and they've already proven, and the government's already said they are so far beyond us. It's not like World War of the Worlds or Independence Day where we find some special way to knock them out and they all go away. It's not like that. They're not here. If they wanted to, if they wanted to kill us, if they wanted to, make us go away, then they could do that in a heartbeat. They've done it before. They can do it again. That's one of the things Billy Carson talks about. He doesn't say directly, but they wiped us out because things were getting weird around the time of Atlantis, and they were doing some crazy stuff. So they wiped us out, and the majority of us, and they kept some of the people who weren't doing the weird stuff. And when I see weird stuff, like the genetic stuff and the just some weird things.
yeah,
And they wiped us out. And that also comes into play with the turning of the pole. Like there's just so much. Like you have the pole every what is it, like 12,000 or 15,000 years? The poles are supposedly turning. Have you heard that one?
no,
You haven't heard that one?
no, no. But that sounds like I need to read up on that. I need school for that one.
Girl, let me tell you, I've been reading a lot about that lately. So apparently the old maps that they have, like if you see the maps from back before they were really when I'm talking flat earth, right? Like
Okay.
back when they thought the earth was just flat. Um if you see the maps, some of the maps are upside down.
Okay.
Africa, the tip of Africa isn't down, like down towards Antarctica. It's up like that's the North Pole.
Okay.
It's some crazy stuff. Check it out if you ever get a chance. It's some interesting reading. Now, who knows if that's real, but
Oh yeah, I'll definitely look into that. I will. Thank you. Um, the movies too that we were talking about. I feel like a lot of those could possibly be like disinformation. It's like I'm watching this show called what's it called? Project Blue Book. It's out from the History Channel. It's not 100% accurate, but in one of the scenes, they're like, okay, we're gonna get the movies to play these certain movies, like you said, like Independence Day or E.T., um, whatever those movies were, especially where the aliens were the villains and
yes,
looking like ugly creatures ready to attack you.
like Mars Attacks
Mm-hmm.
or Independence Day or War of the Worlds or any of
War of the
those.
Worlds.
Yeah, where they're coming to wipe us out or they're coming to like feed off of us or whatever the heck it is. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then even you got the ones like the Knowing, and there's other ones that don't paint them necessarily to be um harm. They don't want to harm us necessarily, but the way that the feel they give the movie is like, oh, you need to worry. Like they could, you know what I mean? like like, all right, we don't want to mess with these guys because they make them creepy looking and they make them
Yeah.
very ominous, when in actuality, if you talk to all the people out there who have supposedly gone out and seen and traveled, we're all really similar because we're supposedly seeded from all these people anyway, all these
Mm,
other races, alien races. We're supposedly seeded from that anyway.
right.
So I don't know. Who knows?
No, that's a good point. Definitely. It's like, yeah, I think that is a big piece is the programming. We're trained to think it's funny. We're trained to think people are crazy. We're trained to think that they're scary, creepy, gonna kill us and invade, and from what I've noticed based on what I've read, and it seems like you're saying from what you have noticed and you have firsthand accounts of, putting people under hypnotherapy and you haven't come across like anything spooky?
I come across love and light. And I know that sounds real hokey. Um, but I come across nothing but a feeling. I have never, ever, ever in any of my experience ever experienced anything that felt malicious. It's always felt connected and um, coming from a place of love and unity and um, never anything, never anything that I ever felt scared or concerned that there was some sort of danger. So, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm just not programmed that way where I just believe everything's out to get me because that's what they teach us from the time we're kids is that everything, I mean, that's a little overblown, but that's what they got to watch out for everything.
Yeah.
It's fear. It's a fear culture. That's how they keep us.
Yes. Yes. Like I was just about to ask you, like, what about this fear thing? I think every that's the source right there. What about this fear thing?
I, I I look at fear, think a little differently now than I used to. Learning the stuff that I've learned, fear is an unknown. That's all it is. It's that it's a reaction to something that you're not, that's unknown to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's uncomfortable. But without experiencing that, we we can't gain any knowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So fear is essential to growth, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So if I feel fear for something, I have learned to dissect that. Why are you afraid of it? And what is the opportunity to grow here? Because when you do that, then it opens up new things to you that you would have never experienced before. So I think as we're trying to raise that vibrational level, that'll help with some of that fear. People being more open to the unknown and creating those new knowns that you and I experience.
Okay. So I think that pretty much wraps up my questions for today. I feel like we have a lot that we spoke about. We discussed a lot already. And I definitely would like you to come back and we can have a brand new conversation about more of these topics. How would you like that?
I think that'd be great. I love it. I think it's fun. It's great talking to like-minded people that don't don't look at you like you're crazy when you talk about something a little out there. I think that the more we talk about this stuff and get it out there, the more people will wake up to it and be able to live better versions of their life.
Yes. And do you have any final things you would like to share with the audience?
Oh no, I think that everybody should just really listen to your intuition. That's the most important thing. We all have that gut feeling, and the more that you listen to that gut feeling and follow that gut feeling, the better off you're going to be. It opens you up so much to things that you never would have expected to be the case.
Right. And where can we find you on social media and for your business?
I have a website at sourcehypnotherapy.net.
Okay.
And then I also have a Facebook page. It's Source Hypnotherapy. I think you and I connected through my personal page, but Source Hypnotherapy is my work page. Um, and then I'm also on TikTok, but I don't really do a whole lot on that. That's you can find me at Source Hypno. So again, Source Hypnotherapy is where you find me. Just look it up, and I'm the one in the U.S., not the one in the U.K. I notice there's some U.K. sources out there.
Okay. Thank you. We will be looking for you.
Thank you.
Yes. And thank you for joining us on the Between Worlds podcast. And I'll see you next time.
It's been a pleasure.
Same here. Peace out.